Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
This is the Verizon Extra Innings Show. Verizon, the most reliable 5G in St. Louis.
Now the pitch. Check swing and a ball high. Oh, the first base umpire rings him up. Quinn Walcott rings up Hampson on a check swing. And looking at it, yep, he's out. This ball game has come to an end. The Dodgers win this one 12-6.
Yeah, that was a tough one tonight for the Cardinals. They lose by a 12-6 score. Welcome in. It's the Extra Innings Show here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Glad that you're spending the late night wee hours of the morning with us as we are sitting here talking at 12:48 in the morning. But I'm glad that we're able to talk with you for sure. I always say this when we do these middle of the night shows. If you are listening to us from way far away, and especially on 11:20 a.m. where you can get it pretty much across the entire country. Certainly encourage you to just send in a text message if you'd like. I always get a kick out of where folks are listening. If I don't mention it on the air, I always keep an eye on that text line. So 314-436-7900, wherever you happen to be listening from tonight, especially if you're outside the area, as we talk to you in the middle of the night, would love to hear from you. So just text in with your location. I've got Cardinals thoughts as well. Feel free. Again, you can call or text 314-436-7900. Tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air. For those of you who are watching us this evening, you can just leave a comment in the chat, and we will address that. We are being presented by Gray Bar. Gray Bar is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Sometimes I say the box score tells the story. Yeah, the box score tells the story on this one. Miles Mikolas wasn't very good. After back-to-back pretty solid starts from Mikolas, it didn't look good for him today. Gave up 5 runs on 7 hits, gave up 3 home runs, gave up tons of hard contact, made it just 3 innings before he was done. Ryan Fernandez wasn't very honestly. I'm more worried about Fernandez than I am Mikolas. This Mikolas thing is frustrating because he's starting a game and he put this Cardinals team in a hole early on, and you don't like that. I'm a big believer in Fernandez. I'm a big believer in his abilities. I'm a big believer that he is somebody who can turn into something pretty darn special, and we saw a glimpse of that last year from him. He's trying to get it all put together. He was pretty good his last time out. He'd been at Memphis for a really long time. He just couldn't throw strikes tonight, so hopefully his next time out looks a whole lot better. But I look, there's a lot of people out there that watched Fernandez tonight and said, well, here we go again. This is the same Ryan Fernandez that we saw when the season got started. And I want to push back on that because I believe in him so much, but it did not look good. It did not look good for him tonight. What did look good was Nolan Gorman. Glad that he was back in the lineup. 2 for 4, hits a home run. Wilson Contreras had a nice day, 2 for 4 with a home run. Lars Nootbaar goes 2 for 4. I like this lineup the way it was today. I like Nootbaar being in center field. That gives you the opportunity to do some other things. Gorman, obviously at third base. I'm a big proponent of giving him as much time as possible. But from a pitching standpoint, they just weren't allowed to really be in this game, even scoring 6 runs, which is a solid performance offensively. 6 runs is you can't complain too much about who they were offensively. They just pitching gave up way too much, and it mainly came from 2 guys, and then Andre Granillo obviously allowed some inherited runners to score as well. Granillo gives up 4 runs on 7 hits. That was his line, plus the inherited runners that he scored. So I'm more worried about Fernandez than Granillo, if I'm being really honest about it. But that's kind of where I'm at on this whole thing. Let's grab some messages that are coming in. Sam says, Miles Mikolas is so inconsistent. It is so frustrating. Yeah, that's frustrating to watch, right? The home runs that he gives up, the fact that the Cardinals, he gives up the 2 runs early, and then Nolan Gorman comes and hits that home run, and they can't hold on to it. I give Mikolas credit for that second inning where he got the Ohtani double play ball. That was a good moment, but you got to be able to do more. You got to be able to do more. Justin sends a message, says Andre Granillo should have been pulled after 20 pitches. He threw too many pitches. 30 is too many for a bullpen pitcher. I don't know. He threw 36 pitches. That's a lot of pitches. Like, I'm not trying to run away from that. But nobody was – the night that Kyle Leahy threw 49 pitches against the Rockies, nobody was texting in saying, they should have pulled Leahy. He threw too many pitches. Like, that's part of the job sometimes for some of these relievers. Let's see. So Granillo throws 36 pitches today. He threw 46 pitches in his last big league outing on July 27th. He threw 42 pitches in a big league outing on June 12th. So of his 9 major league appearances, he has thrown 36 or more pitches 3 times, so 1 out of the 3. And let's see, in the minor leagues, not quite as many. He threw 39, 4 times. In his 24 AAA games, he's 4 times. But that's part of the job, and he's done it before, and sometimes your job is to go out there and finish it off so you don't have to use another relief pitcher to give yourself the best possible opportunity. So, Justin, I understand what you're saying. I think I would respectively push back because that's the job. That's the job that he needs to do, and you don't want to go through more pitchers, especially on a night where your starter only gives you 3. Text message from the 217. Why don't they put Michaelis in the bullpen, make him a middle relief spot start guy? I think if you're going to do that, you just release him. You just designate him, you get rid of him. I want no part of a Miles Michaelis in the bullpen experiment. He's not going to want to do it. He's not going to be good out there. People always say, just put Michaelis in the bullpen. I think it's a terrible idea. I think he would be an absolute disaster in the bullpen. He's a veteran guy, been doing this for a long time. He wants to be a starter. If you get to a point where you're done with Miles Michaelis as a starting pitcher, the next move isn't putting him in the bullpen. The next move is just moving on. And they may do that at some point. I keep thinking back to John Mozeliak's media session after the trade deadline, and he said that expect some more roster moves for the Cardinals between now and the end of the season. So that means probably you move on from some guys. Maybe at some point there's some folks that you may want to give an opportunity. I've talked about Quinn Matthews recently, and I didn't think there was much of a chance that Matthews was going to get to the big leagues this year based off the overall body of work. Well, he was really good his last time out. And some of the issues that he's had this year with his control, they were kind of gone. I think he had 9 strikeouts, 1 walk, if I remember correctly, his last time out. He goes and does some version of that for another start or 2. Get him up to the big leagues. Let him get a start or 2 in the big leagues and get his feet wet and get the experience, and then he can come into spring training next year and compete for a job. Aaron Wilkerson pitched tonight for AAA Memphis. He's got big league time. If you need a starter, he's there. Curtis Taylor has had a really, really nice season at Memphis this year. A fantastic season. Nobody talks about him. He's not like this prospect. He's not a guy that, is knocking down the door of the big leagues. But I think it would be disingenuous to sit here and say that there are not pieces that you could roll with if you need to. Sam adds that Matt Swanson looked really good tonight. Oh, yeah. I'm a Matt Swanson guy. I really am. I've been nothing but impressed by him. And I love his story. He was chosen, for the 40-man roster in the offseason, being, his contract being selected. And it feels like every opportunity he gets, it gets that much better. When I look at this team and I think through the lens of they got to figure out who their high leverage guys are going to be moving forward beyond JoJo Romero. I'm talking about 2026. You got all these club-controlled guys. I want to see Matt Swanson get more high-leverage opportunities. He's been really, really good in the minor leagues. He's been a minor league closer. He's done a great job with that. JoJo Romero can have the vast majority of ninth-inning opportunities. That's fine. But you're going to give some of those ninth inning shots to some other guys. And to me, Matt Svenson's on that list because you got to see how he's going to respond to that. So let's see. Let's roll through some of the text messages that are coming here. 618 says, I'm not trying to be a griping Cards fan, but is it time for Michaelis to go? Maybe. He was good his last 2 times out, but there is a level of inconsistency with him that's frustrating, and when it's not good, it is really, really not good. Really not good. From the 217 says, is it fair at this point to say this team generally has to score 5 or more runs to be in or to win games? Says, shows an issue with the team. Starters get hammered, can't go 5 or 6 innings, which taxes the bullpen and puts too much pressure on an inconsistent offense. It's different every night. We can argue that that's generally true. And I'm not trying to let anybody off the hook here. That's not what I'm doing. It's just there's not much of a there's not much of like rhyme or reason to the way things go. Yeah, in the Arizona series and the Colorado series, like just thinking about the post All-Star break portion on that road trip, yeah, they needed to score a lot of runs to win more games because they gave up 7, 10, 5, 2, 8, and 6. But then, since then, the 2 losses against San Diego, in one of those they gave up 3 runs. So that was a fine pitching performance. They just didn't get enough offensively. In that series against Miami, in their 2 losses, they gave up 5 runs and 2 runs. So they could have scored 3 runs in one of those games and come away with a victory. So I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. Like, I understand what you're saying. I'm not trying to be dismissive of what you're saying. I just think every night is kind of a little bit different. 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. We are being presented by Gray Bar. Gray Bar is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. We'll take a break, have more, wrap up this edition in just a moment as we approach 1 o'clock in the morning. You're locked into the Extra Innings Show on KMOX.
You are a successful electrical contractor, but you plus a dedicated team supporting your project from day one? That's taking your productivity to the next level. And Graybar can help you get there. Your relationships plus our relationships. Your capabilities plus our job site services. Your challenges plus our technical specialist. You alone can get the job done, but you plus Graybar, that's smart business. Yep, Graybar does that.
There's a big red barn where you save green. Norm's Bargain Barn. On discount windows, doors, and things. Norm's Bargain Barn.
Hi, I'm Norm Wilkie. Come see my new selection of Amish cabinetry made by my good Amish friends at Countrywood Products. We now stock 5 styles of cabinetry for you to choose from.
When you need to save on discount windows, doors, and cabinetry, come to Norm's Bargain Barn. With locations in Shiloh and Fenton at the bottom of Gravois Bluffs. Visit normsbargainbarn.com.
That's normsbargainbarn.com.
Hey, facility managers. At Graybar, we're not just one of the largest distributors of electrical and datacom parts in North America. We're your connection to help make your buildings smarter. We work with best-in-class manufacturers to supply products for wireless, security, renewable energy, lighting, and critical power solutions. And we have a network of integrators nationwide that can help make it work all together. So, the next time you're thinking about making your building smarter, think Graybar, and we'll help you get connected. Visit graybar.com/connectedbuildings to learn more.
Did you get a call or message that mentioned Social Security that made you feel threatened or scared? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, press you for personal information, or demand instant payment. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Don't fall for it. Hang up, ignore them. Report this criminal activity to oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Now, back to the Verizon Extra Innings Show.
It is 1:01 in the morning, and we are going strong with the Extra Innings Show right here on KMOX. Thank you so much for staying up late with us as the Cardinals end up losing this evening. They fall to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Final score 12-6. At some point in time, I don't know what the use is of continuing to run Miles Mikolas out there if you're trying to look forward to 2026. Mikolas is not going to be back with the Cardinals next year. And I know nobody's knocking down the door. I was talking earlier about if they did move on from Mikolas, who they might go with. And I mentioned Quinn Matthews because of what he did in his last start. He hasn't been good most of the year. Brian sends in a message, says Matthews' velocity is still down, sitting 91-92. It should be Curtis Taylor and Kyle Leahy piggybacking. Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol was on the Gas House Gang yesterday, now Tuesday afternoon, and he was asked about Leahy being a starter. And he said that Leahy could be a starter. I think that they maybe view him as a starter of the future. I think he's going to go to spring next year and probably contend for a starter spot. But I also know that with what Leahy has done in his past and where he's at right now, they're concerned about his innings right now and his workload. So giving him starters innings, multiple innings, and Brian, mentioning the piggybacking. If you piggyback him with somebody, you're able to limit innings. That also limits your bullpen. If you've got two guys covering one game and it goes poorly for either of them, and all of a sudden you've got normal bullpen usage that day, you could be in a little bit of trouble. So I just, reading between the lines today from Oliver Marmol, my takeaway was they believe in Kyle Leahy as a starter, but that's not a this year thing. So I think they're going to continue to use, and maybe something changes. If they do make the decision to move on from Miles Mikolas, if another starting pitcher gets injured, if the circumstances change, the answer can change. But right now, as we sit at 1:04 in the morning on now August 6th, I would say that the chances that Kyle Leahy moves into a starter's role or even a piggyback role, and that's not saying they really want to do, I think, the piggyback thing. They don't use openers. They don't do a lot of stuff that other teams do. Not that a lot of teams do piggybacks. That's kind of saying you see in the minor leagues more than you see in the big leagues. But I don't get the sense that any of that stuff is going to happen. And Brian adds on that it's a fair point, but Mikolas hasn't provided innings this year either. Yeah. Can't argue with that. He gave 3 innings tonight. A guy who was known as being an innings eater at his best, even a couple years ago where the numbers were bad, but he was still going out and giving you 6 innings. That's not him anymore. So Brian, that's a fantastic point. And all I can do is agree with you on that and not add anything onto it because you're right. What's on Deck is sponsored by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The sign you have, the very best. ChesterfieldFence.com. It's good. I'm looking forward to the Wednesday afternoon game. Going to see Shohei Ohtani on the mound. He'll probably go 4 innings or so as he continues to ramp himself up. Cardinals have lefty Matthew Liberatore on the mound, 6-9, 3.96 ERA, 3.10 first pitch. Our coverage is going to be at 2:15. Thanks so much for being tuned in. Go to bed if that's what you need to do. Go to work if you're an overnight shift worker. Keep driving if you're a truck driver listening to us. If you're a first responder out working, thank you for your service. We appreciate you. I'm trying to think of anybody who's working the graveyard shift. We love talking to you at now 1:06 in the morning, and we'll get back with you tomorrow afternoon right here on KMOX.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays